What is up guys, welcome in. My name is Nick and welcome back to the channel. First things first, I think I need to address some things that didn't come through as clearly as I thought they had from one of my previous videos. If you have no clue what I'm going on about, video you see now is one I published a little while ago after a particularly tough couple of races, and made the decision that I was going to pull back from making ACC content for a while. The intent behind that video was purely to convey that at this moment in time I was going to pivot away from making content using LFM on ACC, mostly purely due to time restraints. To give you an insight into what it takes for me to make one of my normal sort of commentary highlight video things, I'll spend about 5 or 6 hours per video editing that, doing the voiceover, editing the voiceover, the EQ, noise gating, all that sort of boring stuff, overlaying that over the footage, getting that all matched up, final pass through of editing, going through and adding stuff like the transitions and thumbnail creations, and then the publishing. So it's not a small amount of time for me, considering I also do a 45-hour a week job, which sometimes is close to 50 hours depending on how busy that is, alongside all the normal general adulting that goes into day-to-day life basically. Before I started making content, when I was using just the LFM system, for me I could put a couple of hours in most evenings to improve my skills in ACC. You know, generally like just finding lap time, consistency on longer runs, and generally my results were okay. I've yet to win a race, but a couple of top 5 finishes, all that sort of stuff. And that was basically what prompted me to start making content. I wanted to share my journey basically through it. I was having fun. I wanted to share that with basically whoever wanted to watch and listen. As you can see here, this is basically my tracker through LFM. I started week 9 of the season 11 previous season. That was the Hungaroring. That one I didn't make any content on because that's when I was just racing for myself. But as you can see here, it tapered off a bit as I was getting used to it, and then it started peaking up here. And I'm going to see if you guys can guess where it was I started making content. Yeah, it was right here. Right at the top here was basically when I decided that, hey, maybe this could be a fun thing for people. But this is where I would go from spending 9 to 10 hours a week racing, roughly, sometimes a bit more, sometimes a bit less, down to maybe 2 or 3, just because my evenings were now being taken up by turning that race into content basically. The 5, 6, I mean at the start much longer than that to turn that race into a video, and that meant only having a couple of hours a week to actually do the racing. And then there's the added pressure on myself to make sure the race was actually content worthy, because if they weren't, I could lose an entire evening, pushing me days to create a new video. So this again I would ramp up my own internal pressure, thinking that I need to get a better race out of this. I can't have another hour wasted. I found myself just being frustrated when I was racing, and yeah, it was just not something that I was enjoying basically. And to that, I was personally just not happy with the performances I was putting in. Obviously this is sim racing after all. By virtue of that, we all are relatively competitive people. I don't think anyone who enjoys racing really enjoys struggling at the back, trying to hang on to the pack, running wide, missing braking points, getting off tracks and all that other gubbins that goes with it. Like everyone, I want to be in close, respectful battles for position, putting new PB times in, getting better qualifying results, better finishing results, all that sort of stuff. And that, I just wasn't getting that. My lap times were going the other way. Between my first Watkins Glen race, which was the first one I posted, to the one that you saw in last week's video, I'd lost 2 seconds a lap. I was not comfortable in the sim anymore, basically. This led to my quality performance suffering, meaning I was starting further back in the pack at the start of the race. Those races were in a lower bracket based on the average ELO ratings for everyone involved, which inevitably meant the chance of getting caught up in first lap instances were higher. The competitors were inherently more unpredictable, and I was more likely to make less than great decisions in the pursuit of trying to improve my ranking, and obviously for the sake of the almighty content. A number of people seem to think I was damning either ACC itself, local motorsports, or both. This definitely was not what I was trying to say. I've got over 200 hours in ACC logged on my Steam account, and after seeing those comments, I can clearly see why you thought that. I did not make that clear. To clarify, ACC and LFM are both amazing. Specifically LFM, it's a completely fan-made system and it's phenomenal. It basically makes a multiplayer for ACC, and without it, it would more than more than likely be just another dead game. The footage that I shown, last one, was purely meant to show context as to where my decision had come from. I mean, the Watkins Glen thing, the Watkins Glen crash, I know I was definitely equally, if not more, responsible for that than everyone else there. But yeah, I slipped back into my normal commentating style rather than what I'm doing here, which is a bit more pre-scripted. So yeah, it's totally understandable where that confusion came from. I do plan to carry on using ACC and LFM, but it'll be probably just for myself. Who knows, I might record it out of instinct, because it's better to have it and not need it at the end of the day. And if I do get something worth sharing, you may see it pop up now and again, but to be honest, for the moment I want to focus on one game, as I'm still trying to grow this YouTube thing, see where this can go. I don't want the algorithm to start messing around with sort of getting confused in who my content's for and sharing that and all that sort of stuff. So going forward it will mostly be Forza Motorsport for now. The races on there are shorter, better chances of getting more content-worthy races. If the one were to be rubbish, I can jump into another lobby within 15 minutes and be racing again. So in my short time available to record, it just gives me more options. And just in general, I'm enjoying Forza. It's not a sim, it's SimKD, the word that doesn't really exist, but yeah, I'm just getting more enjoyment from it in general. Forza is where I started back on the original Xbox, God knows how many years ago, and I'm a Forza simp, and I'm proud to admit it, basically. I do plan on dabbling in iRacing, particularly things like touring cars, GT4s. The fixed setup lobbies sound pretty fun, because it takes a large element of time out of the equation for me, basically having to worry about tyre pressures and rebound rate and all this stuff that I still really don't think I will ever really get a grip over, to be honest. I've also seen some great content from people like Chris Rogers Sim Racing and LeBroca Sim Racing on the new R Factor 2 ranked lobby system that's just come out on the beta version of it. It's really piqued my interest, and yeah, I'm sure if you've found your way onto my poker little channel, you already know these two guys are. If not, do go check them out. They make some fantastic content for YouTube. Part of the reason I switched from being a content consumer to a content creator. But yeah, anyway, if anyone is actually still listening, firstly drop me a like and a comment just to let me know you made it this far, and apologies for sitting here and droning in your ear for however long this video ends up turning to be. I'm sure by now you're fed up with it, so I shall leave you guys here. Thank you very much for listening, and I will catch you in the next one.